Hello again, WHS juniors. Mr. Kohler again. I'll be your captain one more time. And we're going to look at equivalent equations today. And this is all about algebra, this strand. And what you're going to see a lot of in algebra is linear equations, and you get into some quadratic, some exponential growth. But basically algebra, a lot of it is with linear equations. So if you remember, there's 3 linear equation models that you see preeminently. And linear equations are equations that produce lines of solution points when you graph them. One of the easiest forms you'll see, and you see it all the time, is what's called slope-intercept, which we reviewed already on these videos several times, is y equals mx plus b. Okay, slope-intercept. Okay, you have a dependent variable, x leads to it, the m is the slope of the line, it tells you the rate of change between the variables, and b is basically the initial condition or the starting point of the function, the y-intercept of the graph, where the line will hit the y-axis. Okay? Another form is called standard form. Standard form is really a lot different than slope-intercept form. Standard form, what it does, it recognizes when you have combinations of items resulting in some total. So there isn't per se a dependent variable. It's just combinations of items resulting in a total. So that one goes a little bit of a variable ax plus a little bit of a different one, by equals sum total c. Okay? There's a third form that's used for writing equations quite a bit called point-slope form. It's kind of a starting point to get the equation for a line. And it's y minus y1 is m times x minus x1. I've reviewed that when we talk about writing linear equations. This, preeminently, you're going to have slope-intercept form and standard form. This one's used a little bit on a more limited basis. So if I give you an equation in one form and ask you to write it in another form, that would be something we should be able to do. And what they're called is equivalent. Equivalent means equal but different looking. Kind of like if you watch the Super Bowl, the Ravens won, and they have a receiver, Anquan Bolden, big guy, and he caught a touchdown, I think it was in the second quarter in the end zone, and that's 6 points, okay? But also, a little field goal kicker kicks 2 field goals, they're each worth 3, that's 6 points. Now it certainly looks different, but they're both worth the same, 6 points. Just like you could put 2 quarters in the pop machine and get a pop. Back in the day, I don't know if they accept them anymore, but we could put 10 nickels in a pop machine and get a pop. But it's the same amount of money, it's 50 cents. So here I've got one, if you look carefully, this one's in standard form. Okay, a little bit of x, a little bit of y, total, and then one in slope-intercept form. What you need to remember about slope-intercept form, very frankly, is you simply got to have y by itself. So when you look at this equation, I've got to focus right there. I want to get that variable isolated. So I'm going to be taking away this term, because it's combining, and then dividing by -4. So negative 3x, negative 3x. Those will reduce out. Negative 4y equals, remember to put the x term in front of the constant. So negative 3x, and then 12 is in the back, and simply divide by -4. Each thing gets divided. Most of the time this is going to end up being a fraction, which it is here. So y equals, reduce this, negative divided by negative is a positive, very good. 3/4 x, 12 divided by -4 is -3. You should definitely be able to switch from standard form into slope-intercept form. Okay? Now, probably a little less, it's a little less the time you'd be asked to convert into standard form. Okay? But here I've got an equation. This one's actually in point-slope form. My line must have went through the point 4, -8, and it had a slope of 2, but I want to go in standard form. Well, standard form means your variables are together on one side and they equal something on the other side. So to that end, I'm going to simplify this. I'm going to distribute the 2 through there. So y -4 equals 2x positive 16. And then I'm going to remember I want to get my letters together on one side and my numbers on the other side. So I'm going to minus 2x here to get my x with my y over here. And really, as long as I'm doing this, I might as well realize the number's got to be on the right-hand side. So I'm going to add 4 here. So when I do my little shuffleage, essentially I have negative 2x plus y equals 20. Okay? So there we go. The key to remember, standard form, the variables are together, combining to make some total on the other side. All right, letter C says convert to standard form. This one is actually into slope-intercept form. Okay? Now I would say one thing. If you get fractions and equations and you're asked to make it into another form or to make it simpler, I would get rid of the fractions. And to do that, you look at the denominators, because fractions are created through the process of division, and you need to undo that. So I've got fourths, I've got thirds. This is not a fraction. I could put a 1 under there and make it 1. But I've got to eliminate fourths and thirds if I want to get rid of the fraction part of this stuff. And to do that, you need to multiply. Multiplication is the vacuum cleaner for division. So I think, what do 3 and 4 go into? They go into 12. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply everything by that lowest common multiple of those denominators. And you've got to multiply everything by it. Okay? So you're going to see what's going to happen. I will have 12y equals this 3 now. This divider goes into 12. That's the idea, is to undo that division via multiplication. Goes in there 4 times. And I'll have 4 times 2x is 8x. And then this 3/4 to 4 would soak into the 12 3 times. 3 times 3 is better known as 9. And now I got something that's way simpler to work with. I've got integer coefficients rather than fraction land. All right? Fraction land is not Disneyland. So I would get rid of fractions, especially if I've got 2 or more of them. Multiply by something that the denominators will all go into. All right, now I just got to get it into standard form, so I got to do a little iPod shuffle here with mathematical stuff. X's and Y's together, equal sign, constant on the other side. I just simply got to move this 8x over here. So add the opposite. Whoops. Negative 8x, positive 12y equals 9. And there you have it. Okay? So you can convert to slope int by getting y by itself. You can convert to standard by putting the x and y variables together on one side equals a constant on the other side.